the last 21 years. So my specializations include driving the digital technologies, which is powered by the cloud, big data, analytics, artificial intelligence, and so on. And I deeply specialize in the enterprise architecture and performance engineering with a variety of technology stacks involved. So it's my definite pleasure to be part of this particular talk where I'm going to touch upon how do you reimagine your future by linking learning with a career. It is very, very critical and important for all of you to understand. Learning should not be done in isolation. Learning need to be done with a kind of a focus and towards a goal what you want to really aspire to achieve. So when you try to connect these two dots, learning with a career, you have a great opportunity that you enjoy your learning and also ensure that whatever you're learning, you're putting into practice as part of your career journey. Now, for the next 1 hour, I'm going to briefly touch upon some of the specific scenarios, futuristic scenarios, and the digital technologies and the accelerators which are really empowering in that direction. How we are currently transforming into the new age future where the entire working styles, work culture, everything is getting transformed. We are also going to touch upon some of the industry segments and how the technology alignment is helping them to reimagine the future of the particular segments of technology and industries. You have been seeing and witnessing from the last 12 months with the kind of a situation we are currently living in by maintaining the social distancing, by wearing the masks, and trying to safeguard ourselves. Many people across the world are trying to work from home just to ensure that they do not get affected by the very dangerous COVID-19 symptoms. What it is trying to change is it is trying to change the entire work style. It is trying to change the culture. It is trying to change and bridge the gaps of the physical and digital worlds. This is internally triggering many new scenarios getting emerged in the cycle. We will witness these things as we move forward. Before I get started, I just want to let you know that I'll be handling all your questions at the end of the session. If you have any questions running in your mind at any point of time, feel free to use the chat window to post your questions. We'll pick it up at the end and try to answer all of them. Okay, with that, let me get started. So, if you try to really look at, it's important that you understand we are all living and driven by the science and technologies. And you see, our future is completely driven by the science. Science is undergoing a lot of discoveries in the initial phases. After that, there is a new inventions which is triggering and demanding the change in our lifestyle, change in our societal behaviors, likewise. And the technology is also dramatically influencing this particular change as we try to move forward. When you try to primarily look into the overall influence of the technology bucket, you start seeing that there are five important digital technologies which is playing in foundational factors, or you can say foundational triggers, which is making the bigger change in the industry chain adoption. You might have witnessed the industry revolution 1.0, where man has invented the wheel, and then industry revolution 2.0, when man has invented the electricity, industry revolution 3.0, when man has invented the internet. Now currently we are trying to talk about the industry revolution 4.0, which is completely driven by the cyber physical technologies, which is trying to bridge all these things and trying to make a uh, combinatorial effect in our lives. And you see that the five important foundational technologies which is powering the things as internet, social, mobile, cloud, big data, analytics. This first wave, what I'm trying to touch upon, is they are the foundation for many things, which is drawing out our levers and triggering a lot of accelerators in this particular space. These accelerators are really giving the uh, kind of a push and a kind of a elevated power, which is trying to give you the um, ability to accelerate your work at a larger segment of pace. Now you see that today many human parts are getting 3D printed. Many automobile parts are getting 3D printed on demand. So that way you are trying to ensure that it's not only in the manufacturing segment and the assembly units, the entire thing need to be done. But on demand, if something need to be 3D printed, these 3D printing devices are coming very, very handy. In fact, there's a company in the USA which is called as a Singularity Inc. They are focusing on 3D printing the brain of a human being. They are also trying to 3D print human heart and trying to see if that can be made functional. So there is a lot of artificial brains, artificial hearts which are getting created, which is giving a kind of a physical behaviors to make it function. There is an effort going in that direction. The second element, the renewable energy, is also having a huge amount of focus as we try to see. The wastage of energy is not a source of looking at the things, but we need to really look into the very obvious things. How do you renew your energy and try to regenerate the energy from the waste as well? So there is a huge amount of focus is given in that area to do that kind of a power generations, and also the energy production, so through the wind, water, waste materials. As we live today, we also see there is a huge amount of sensor-based technologies coming into the existence. The first thing is about the IoT. Now you see, Internet of Things is really empowered by the way making the things to be more autonomous in nature, as carrying the ability to process the things, and also has the ability to manage the behavior and respond to the things. Because of this such advancements, you see that sensor based devices are becoming very, very popular in nature. You have the ability to communicate with some of the remote devices and perform the things, just like you're managing your entire washing machines or your ACs remotely, even before you enter your home. Similarly, the other important technology which is having a huge amount of potential in the segment of industries is artificial intelligence or the cognitive systems. They are considered to be the most fundamental behavioral change and shift the way we are trying to look at. Today, we see that technology is not working or progressing in the linear manner, but it is more going in an exponential manner. The cognitive systems are making the things to be much, much more intelligent. And that's where you see that AI powered systems, conversational chatbots, whatever you see like Alexa, Google Mini, which is trying to drive like a lot of conversations. These conversations are making the systems to be more intelligent and empowered with a lot of source of data to respond back to you. Not only at that level, but also at the you see the driverless cars and deriving the intelligence from the past data, futuristic data, and predicting and prescribing the actions are all part of the AI-based systems. As we move forward, you see that nanotechnology taking a lot of advancements, where this nanotechnology and robotics are the kind of a combinations to create the automating everything as much as possible. Automation as a service is becoming one of the industry norm, and trying to trigger many projects. You can say many kind of a behavioral changes. So robotics, nanotechnology are really driving the change and making the bigger impact in building the devices and making the things to be a little more autonomous. You see this kind of a robotics, nanotechnology are becoming quite evident in the bigger warehouses like Amazon, Flipkart. So where you have a huge amount of warehouse, and it is ideally impossible for you to get and fetch certain things or parts. So you use this robotics robots which can help you in delivering those things, and robots to pick up the things, robots to move the things, likewise drones to deliver the things. And blockchain, which is probably some of you might have heard about it, it's a distributed ledger, very, very popular today. If you are trying to talk about uh, Harita portal, which government of Telangana is trying to introduce, where your land registrations, building registrations, everything will be part of the system, is completely based on the blockchain database. How this you will be learning about the database management system concepts, which will ideally talk about uh, the CRUD principles. It will also try to talk about many of the database systems, like how do you structurally represent it. Many ideally database systems provide you the ability to create, read, update, and delete operations. While in the blockchain databases, the behavior is a little different. It will only allow you to create and append the things, but it will not allow you to update the things. So so that there is ability to fudge the things, the ability to manipulate the things is very, very less in blockchain. Since the ledger is completely distributed across the nodes, it is highly difficult for many people to go and make the change and also replicate into the different sources where it is already done. So it's not a centralized database, it's a distributed database, distributed ledger. That is the reason people call. So that is becoming a very prominent. And wherever you see there is a lack of trust, wherever you see there is a lack of transparency, wherever you see there is a huge amount of third party involvement and commissions are involved, blockchain is becoming a source of inspiration to replace such kind of a behaviors. So there is also a lot of advancements which are happening in the genomic and medical sciences, which is trying to focus on improving the life span of the individuals. These are the accelerators which are really triggering the futuristic scenarios. These scenarios are becoming a very, very important part of our focus areas, and also part of our journey. Right from the augmented reality or virtual reality, where the gaming is becoming a very important area. Like many of you might be looking into the augmented and virtual realities games, where you make yourself part of that particular games, and your environments will be part of that particular game. So similarly, there is a great amount of focus is given in the genetic engineering, material science, quantum computing, which is a advancements of the computing associated to the uh, graphical processing. You see the CPUs, GPUs, tensor processing units, now quantum processing units are coming, which is enabling you to have the multiple states can be stored in one particular bit. You normally have the bits and bytes where we have either one or zero as a representation, but in the uh, 3 qubits or 4 qubits, you have an opportunity to increase the ability to store the data and also compute the data at a faster pace. And you see, adding the dimension of the time, 4D printing is also becoming a very popular in nature. So this particular area where we see there is a huge amount of potential, I see you will be start noticing the behavior of how huge amount of efforts are going on in driving the standards across these particular areas. In fact, as I'm speaking, the IEEE is working on the brain computer interface standards. And in fact, I'm part of that particular standards body, where we are trying to define the brain computer interface terminology and taxonomy, and also defining the communication standards which uh, can be leveraged and mapped. Today, why these standards are becoming important? Because standards will be integral part of adopting and manufacturing the things. You see, the USB is one standard. Ethernet cables, they are all standard. Irrespective of whoever manufacturer, they are all manufactured with the same composition and same thing, so that it can uh, be used by several parties. So these standards are part of the huge amount of investment. In fact, you might be start noticing, we heard about Wi-Fi. There is also something called Li-Fi, light frequency communication, where you can transmit the data using the light. And there is a huge amount of investments which are going on in that direction as well. So, not getting into the details of everything, but just wanted to give you a kind of a perspective and thought how these things are becoming very prominent in nature. And in fact, these are the things which are really driving the change and making the futuristic scenarios what you will be part next 4 years. So you see, today many of these things might be rare as part of bits and pieces. You see that smart grid computing, the power, smart grid power generation systems, the connected car equipment. Already, many of the high-end cars have this connected car equipment. As soon as you board the car, yeah, it knows who is boarding the car and what kind of devices you're carrying. It gets connected and it starts playing the videos or playing the music as per the choice of the individual who's boarded the car. Smart homes are already there as part of the mainstream, which is making the homes to be much, much more smarter through the devices and also the security equipment which is built across. So likewise, there is a focus is given in the artificial intelligence area. I'll come to that in the subsequent slides, but more focusing on smart cities, connected healthcare, automation of everything. In fact, shared economy. This sharing economy is all about like what you see in the Uber and Ola, right? You have the people who are coming together to share a ride, so that the entire expenses can be distributed. So you see that similar things are getting extended through the circular economy. Now the Uber extending it to the Uber Eats. So you are trying to see that the medical world, the retail world, the the food, clothing, all these things are converging together and they are linking their services with one and other, so that there is a huge amount of change what to try to see. Institution 2.2, Transport 2.2, or Money 2.2, whatever we call about, it's all about talking about how the entire current transformations are triggering the change by empowering the technologies. But is it technologies which is always changing the behavior? No. There is also something called societal behaviors, societal factors which keeps on changing it. What are the societal factors which is trying to change? You see today, as I speak, there is a huge amount of scenarios which are evolved, the kind of a diseases we are living in, the amount of disability which is trying to empower, making the things to be more accessible for the people. Today, if you're trying to develop any product, remember the product will be marketed well if it is able to use by the people with uh, physical challenges and the limited abilities. So you need to make your product to be accessible in nature. There is accessibility standards which you need to follow to make the people use your services and products. The kind of a diseases which is triggering today. Now you talk about the pandemic disease like corona, COVID-19, or something more than that, or more can come in the future. You need to be ready. That so society is trying to change, and you are also trying to use the technology to meet that kind of a changed behaviors. You see that many data which is getting used across, there's a need for you to have the ownership to access this particular data. You see there is a 5 generations of workers which are getting trained. We call it as a Gen X, Gen Y, millennials, or Gen Z, or the baby boomers. These are the people right from 1930s to 2020s. They are really segmented into 5 generations. They are living today and trying to work. So if you go to Japan, I can say that people with 80 plus years of age, they are ready to develop the mobile applications. One of the person, in fact, when I was in last there in Tokyo a couple of years ago, I saw a old man of 85 years. He was trying to develop the Android-based mobile application for the finding the work for more than 80. So such scenarios do exist, and you need to see that. You need to see what are the different societal behaviors which is really changing the way we are trying to live in. So it's both way, I would say. One is our emerging future is completely changed by the technology to influence the behavior of the society. Society changes and living styles are also influencing the technology advancements to drive the change. So both way you see this particular future is emerging and taking us to the new level altogether. As I speak, you need to understand the way we were trying to live earlier, it was more focusing on linear progression of our lifestyle. So nothing used to happen much for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 30 years, sometimes 100 years. The industry revolution 1 to the revolution 2 almost took like 1,000 plus years. Then afterwards, that it came down to 500 years. Then now it's almost like every quarter you see certain revolutions are triggering and making a change, which is making the entire pace of progression of the lifestyle exponentially increased. So the pace at which we are trying to drive the change, the pace at which the science, technology, society behaviors are rapidly changing, it is important for us to start adapting to the change at a quicker pace. And this is only possible when you try to be a little more creative and also drive with the left and right brain characteristics. I'm sure with you might be knowing about the right brain, which is all about the innovation and creativity and emotional intelligence. So these are the important characteristics which will be able to provide a lot of transformation behaviors in the drive what we are trying to look at. So let me introduce you to the left and right brain characteristics which give you a perspective how our right brain thinks, how our left brain thinks. Generally, our left brain is completely driven by the data, numbers, physical. Whatever they see, they will be able to interpret. If you're really looking into the details of certain numbers, you're looking for to form some kind of a patterns, or you are trying to analyze certain things. So the people who carry this kind of a characteristics, they're really dominated by their left brain. People who are not worried about the numbers, but they are very creative in nature, emotionally connected, socially connected, and brings a lot of innovation into the discussion, innovation into their thoughts. They are really using their right brain characteristics. I would say that you should Question yourself, what part of the brain you really dominate? You are dominated by the right brain thinking or the left brain thinking. This is very, very important for you to assess, because this is how you are going to develop the skills of the future, which will be completely aligned with the kind of a learning you will start developing. I'll give you some more insights as I progress. What kind of technology themes, what kind of soft skills you need to start developing if you really want to build the bridge the gaps and build the skills for the future, what you really want to look at. So when I say this, the future skills profile, when you're for any individual you are trying to look at, it's more to do with the kind of a ability to adapt to the change. I'm coming from the right to the left. So the change is possible, and the change happens every 3 months. In fact, in your engineering courses also, whatever your seniors might have learned, there might be certain changes to your courses, structures, the way you get evaluated. So your ability to adapt to that particular change is very, very important. You're all graduate coming from the 10 plus 2, and it is important that you need to get adapted to the engineering lifestyle. So second skill is about the influencers. Your ability to influence is very, very important. And no one gets influenced if you do not have a rational thinking, and if you do not have the reason why you want to influence others. So your ability to reason and your ability to provide the rational behind your recommendations is very, very critical when you're trying to influence. Today, successful people are the people who are really able to collaborate. It's not about the individual work, it's not about the individuals who are going to make the thing different. It's all about how well you will be able to collaborate and get the work done from others as well. It's also very, very important and critical as part of your future skill profile. So try to be more collaborative in nature, and be part of some kind of a volunteering events or skill programs which will allow you to learn that ability to collaborate and work in the diversified teams. Dot connectors, very important today. When you write when you look into the any kind of a problem statement or any kind of a solutions, your ability to understand the overall big picture and your ability to interpret the impact of the change, your ability to connect the dots between the different solutions which are getting integrated, makes you the champion and champion thinker, and you will be a champion way of executing the things. And all this are possible when you constantly learn and continuously progress in your learning, and you constantly challenge the status quo. So if you do not challenge the status quo, you will not be able to drive the change. In fact, I will always, whenever see hear the word called status quo challenges, one thing which comes to my mind is about Apple. Apple, the people in Apple, if you've interacted any employees in Apple, they are the people who always challenge the status quo, and they are the people who are always going to be more creative, innovative in nature to understand why the things need to be done this way. You see, the entire characteristics of our phone has been moved from the typing to the mouse because of them. Now, then to the gesture, then to the touch. All these things, and in fact, there is an effort going into the direction of the brainwave thinking as well. So, people when they challenge, everything will be innovative and creative in nature. That is another skill as a soft skill one need to develop in. And further to that, it is important you need to carry the creativity and your inquisitiveness, your curiosity to learn the things and explore the things also becomes a very important skills. If you are not curious about certain things, you will never question it. If you do not explore, you do not have an opportunity to understand the details. So your ability to develop that critical thinking, imaginative thinking, will allow you to be little more different from others. So from the day one of your engineering, if you start developing that curiosity, why I'm learning certain subject, where it is applicable, how I'll be using these particular skills, how which are the industries which is more going to use this, you will be able to appreciate that entire learning journey, and you will be able to understand the concepts much more in detail. So understanding the context, understanding the concept, contextual learning, conceptual learning is very, very critical. In fact, um, if so, there was a session which I was hearing out where the speaker was trying to ask all the audience, say that, how many of you do remember what you have learned in the kindergarten? I saw that many hands going. In fact, almost all the hands. Every hand is lifted because whatever you learned in the kindergarten is remembered well in nature, because there is a lot of context associated. You learn through some kind of an objects, you learn through some kind of a explanation associated to it. Similarly, when you move to the pre-primary or primary and the secondary education level, you see that kind of a context and conceptual learning gets reduced, and your ability to remember those things also gets reduced. So your journey in the engineering need to come back to the style of kindergarten, where you are not really forgetting the context and concept, but you are really aligning your thoughts so that it will be remembering as part of your memory lane for a longer time, so that you'll become an effective and efficient problem solvers. These are the critical future skills one need to carry when you're trying to develop your career in the progression of your engineering style. So, if you're talking to anyone, what are the different facets of the next revolution? The the few prominent things which comes in is, you understand the purpose of your learning, you understand the value of your learning, you are really keen to manage the entire structure of your learning in a right way. Put your thoughts into the entire futuristic scenarios. How does it get applied, and where does it get aligned with? You try to focus on the ethical aspects of it. You do not try to violate something which is not unethical in nature. That's where you see today there's a greater emphasis is given in the global data privacy regulation laws, which is imposed by European Union, and it is widely accepted by the other parts of the countries. So the privacy uh, and security becoming a very important part of every solution what you're trying to develop, and the ethics is very very critical. And the viability, because whatever you develop, whatever you realize, is it really viable, is it really acceptable in the industry or not, is also you need to validate it. So your future thinking is completely lying on this six important elements as you try to progress and drive through the thinking. So you need to understand that whatever you saw 5 years ago may not be there today, and what will be there in the part of the next 5 years, nobody knows. So the future is very very unpredictable nature, very very uncertain in nature. So the kind of a pace under which we are trying to operate is very very rapid and exponential. That is the reason you see there is a future uncertainty. Did anyone thought in 2019 January, couple of years ago from here, at least 23 months from now, before, did anyone thought that we are going to be in the lockdown situation? We are going to work in the virtual online mode for many classes. We are going to write our exams remotely. No, it was completely unpredictable. The kind of uncertainty we are living in is very high, because what happens next moment, nobody knows. The kind of a behavioral changes which are happening is completely volatile, and it's completely driven by the social changes, economic changes, political changes. All these three things are trying to change the entire lifestyle of the individuals. So it's very very important that the future thinking need to be managing this kind of a pace, managing the uncertain behaviors, managing the volatile situations, managing the extreme complexity by with the participation of a lot of heterogeneous systems, and also deal with the unexpected behaviors, deal with the unpredictable scenarios. So these things play a very important and critical role as part of your journey when you really look at. So when I say so, you need to remember that we have seen the first wave talking on the digital technology, foundation technologies. The second wave talking on the solution accelerators. Third wave speaking on the kind of a futuristic scenarios which are completely emerged. Now, what happens is when these things come combined together or intersect together, you start seeing most probable impactful scenarios which are getting generated. Let me touch upon one particular scenario which is very very relevant right now. Now, from the today's context, if you try to see, healthy life extension is becoming a very prominent. But is that healthy life extension, which is a futuristic scenario, can live on its own? No, it requires ability to connect through the mobile, 3D printing, IoT, nanotechnology, robotics. What are these accelerators and foundation levers doing? If you're typically talking about the healthy life extension, one scenario which is completely emerged is the telemedicine, where you are trying to connect your body to the different devices and get that particular vital characteristics. It could be a sugar levels, BP levels, ECG, your wearable devices which is trying to monitor your sleep patterns. All these things are your health vital parameters are captured, and these sensors delivering IoT backbone communicate the things back to the technology. And there are certain nano devices or the robotics which is playing a very important role, which is helping you to manage your health lifestyle through the connected healthcare, smart homes, or connected car. Irrespective from where you're traveling or where you're living, your entire health gets monitored, and that gets transmitted for the regular advices and medications which can be supplied. So likewise, when you try to combine the first, second, and third wave, you will be intersected to draw out many such kind of behaviors, many such kind of scenarios which are completely emerging and driving the change in the future. As I say so, you need to understand the unpredictability aspects also very important, because there are things which are going to change to a great level. You might be start seeing, because of the healthy life extension, the population could be aged to a great level. Means people who used to say that 60 years will be our average lifespan, because of the kind of a support we are going to get, the aged populations can go have the average lifespan as 70 years or 80 years, 90 years, because people who are literally now aged, they have a lot of money in their banks which they want to buy in for 2 years, 5 years of their lifetime also. You see that becomes an important entity, because of the investment which is happening in, there will be a decline in the fertility rates, because you used to have many people born in one particular family. Now, because of the kind of a, people wanted to have a very economical families, one or two people, so you can see the decline in the fertility rates, which also could be a trigger. The third is about the fall in working age populations. Many people are retiring at a 40, 45 age, and they wanted to have the healthy lifestyle, and very happy with the what they are trying to do. They want to explore the things the way they want to do it. So you see this unpredictable behaviors which are going to trigger the change. And for each of this triggered behavior, you see there is a huge amount of opportunities which is getting triggered in the areas. So one such opportunity is automation of everything. So today you see that on a click of a button you get your clouds. In a click of a button you would try to make your entire utility bill payments. So likewise, you see this many such kind of things which are getting automated, may trigger a lot of technological unemployment as well. But it is also opening up some more intelligent employment, where if you are not changing with the change in technology, you get unemployed. But if you are able to adapt to the change and change with the technology, you will find something new, intelligent way of doing the things. The third important dimension, I think my Zoom is trying to reconnect. Hold on. Okay. So the other dimension which is going to have a tremendous impact in the entire futuristic scenarios is the timing. Now you see, uh, there's the third wave which is showing up. I'm going to touch upon the artificial intelligence area to a great level. And you need to understand how this AI is completely getting transformed or getting matured to the new level. There's a guy by name Ray, Ray Kurzweil from the Google, who was the person coined this particular entire curve, Ray Kurzweil curve, what we try to talk about. It's trying to talk about the kind of a growth of computing, exponential growth of computing. And probably in the 70s, 80s, or 90s, when you're seeing the computing power was very less. Like you used to have a machine with 4 MB RAM or 8 MB RAM or 1 MB RAM also. In fact, when I started my career, I used to have a machine with 64 MB RAM, which was considered to be the fastest PC at that point of time in 97, 98. Now when you try to see, you people carry 8 GB RAMs. You can see the huge change in the entire computing capabilities in the last 20 odd years itself. So if you try to look at it is trying to compare with the insect brain, where you say that it has got a particular capability of doing the things. When there is an intent of doing only one thing, the artificial narrow intelligence is coming into the existence. Means basically, excuse me, I don't know. Okay. Let me know if you're able to see.
Screen sharing has been stopped, sir.
I don't know why this internet connectivity is going on. Uh, Let me try once again. That as an insect brain has got an ability to do one intent at a time, insect is very focused to do that particular intent. Now you do today, you see many conversational chatbots which are leveraging the artificial narrow intelligence as a specific intent to do the job. You have the healthcare chatbots, banking, finance chatbots which has only ability to perform the job of that particular thing. But as you graduate and trying to move towards like a human brain, just like a human brain has an ability to converse on different elements and in parallel, like you can talk about sports, politics, education likewise. So there is a multiple intent switching which is there. So artificial general intelligence is trying to talk about how you are having the ability to talk about multiple intents at one time and ability to answer those things. That's how you try to program the maturity of the system to behave. And as you graduate, just like you're trying to collect the human intelligence together, all human brains, you graduated towards the artificial super intelligence. And this is where you see systems are becoming very prominent in the way we are trying to use in leveraging the power of the superpower of the brains. Now you have seen the robots like humanoids, Sophia Robo. Probably you might be very familiar with the Robo 1 and Robo 2 movie of Rajinikanth, right? Where the power of super intelligent power is enabled into that particular robot to perform some humanly impossible tasks. So that's how you are trying to graduate your capabilities. You are trying to graduate the AI level thoughts. So today there is a huge amount of work which is going on in the area of the artificial super intelligence and general intelligence. General intelligence is trying to drive the change in the application behavior lifestyles, while the super intelligence and trying to bring in the robotics, AI, analytics combination coming together to drive the change. Okay. Now as I move on, you here I'm going to spend some time on the standard of living, because this is where you see very definite alignment available in terms of different industry segments under which we are trying to operate. So first of all, you need to understand the purpose which is trying to drive the uh, drive and trigger the transparency in the way we are trying to work with the technology, and showing a lot of empathy towards the people who are going to leverage these technologies. How is this driving the change? Now, when you're trying to look at, I'm just trying to zoom in for the betterment of the people who wanted to see what is this. So you can
Okay.
see, there is a characteristics of health, food. These are the industry segments under which we are trying to operate: health, food, transport, home, energy, communication, information, work, clothing. So all this particular industry segment has got certain influencing factors, the base influencing factors. Let's take since we are all talking about education, let's take about this uh, education. Now you say end of the child labor, transition into the office work, and the kind of new bills which are getting created. All these are the factors which is influencing the change in the way we are trying to improve the standard of living. Similarly, the food lifestyle, the transportation lifestyle, the way we are trying to live in our homes, the kind of a consumption which we are trying to do with the energy, the way we are trying to communicate with the external and internal worlds, the information under which we are trying to pass and consume, the work under which we are trying to operate and do the things. All these things are having a complete extensions leveraging the power of technology. So just trying to touch upon, wanted to touch upon each of these particular scenarios in greater detail. Now, let me introduce about the health. When you really look into the health part, it's important that today health is becoming a very prominent in every segment of the lifestyle. You Today there is a huge amount of investment which is going across the parts of the geographies to focus on finding the medicine for the coronavirus, getting that precision medicine, getting that advice from the different genomic combinations, the DNA combinations, and yet seeing the different behaviors is very, very critical. It's humanly not possible for calculating so many combinations of the pharmacological medicine compositions. So you use the kind of a combinations and simulate those behaviors in the genome labs, which will allow you to find the medicine which is providing you the accurate results under different conditions. So you try to use the power of genomics and robotics, which is trying to construct different formula based medicines and helping you. Further to that, you are trying to leverage a lot of services developed using the connected healthcare. Today you see the telemedicine, which used to be a very, very less adopted. Now it is becoming a telemedicine. Video based consultations are becoming a very important way of connecting to the human and also supporting and servicing their needs. So connected healthcare does not only stop at a telemedicine, but it is also connected with your wearable devices, your cars, your homes, and many more such kind of a gadgets under which you're trying to use, because this data is collected under different intervals at different periods, and provides you the analytics around your health and give you the better insights for you to make the decisions and make yourself much healthier and predict the things even before it happens. And this nano devices or nano chips which are becoming prominent is trying to help and support in that direction. And 3D and 4D printing devices are also creating a norm in the industry for quickly constructing the parts of the body. Today you see many knee replacement parts, no, which people undergo nowadays, are created with the 3D printing devices itself. The second area is where you see is about the food. You see huge amount of aquaculture, cultured meat, vertical farming, precision agriculture, all are becoming evident as part of the food habits, which are going transforming to a greater level. And the cultural behavior is also changing. Earlier, these extensions are coming towards building your own farm in your home and develop the organic food so that it helps you to create your healthy lifestyle also. So that's these are all the things which are becoming evident as part of we are trying to drive the change. Now you see the transportation quite witnessed and quite known, right? You see the cognitive systems, the AI based cognitive systems are becoming much more intelligent and prompting you that you might need to travel, and there's an event which is happening. Do you want me to book a ticket? So the chat bots are helping you to manage your travel, and it is trying to remove your entire travel headache. Earlier, you used to go to a travel agent to plan your travel. Now you need not go. You have your travel bots which will help you to completely manage your travel booking, uh, your flights or your hotels, your cars, everything. The entire logistical operations, they can take care of it. And you have started seeing today that Walmart and other companies have started using drones to deliver the goods because of the social distancing. They don't want people to come to the floors and get into a situation where they are getting challenged because of the pandemic scenarios. The drones are playing a critical role in delivering the things at their home. So autonomous vehicles are becoming very, very popular. The autonomous development, autonomous vehicles are providing a lot of capabilities because of the AI and analytics and sensor-based technologies embedded into it, which is allowing you to making that particular vehicle to be much more intelligence locally. It does not process the data remotely. It does process every piece of the data locally and transmit the result back into the cloud. So making the vehicle to be much more capable. Just like a colleges which are autonomous, vehicles are becoming autonomous. So colleges, when it is autonomous, they have the entire they are empowered to do the change which is better for that particular situation. Similarly, vehicles are becoming autonomous, so they have an ability to make the decisions which is good at that particular instant, and which is triggering the shared access economy, which is completely known to everyone. uh, the home the home industry is pretty completely transformed now. Internet being, it's very hard to see today home without an internet, isn't it? You see this internet is becoming one of the important service for every home in India or in elsewhere everywhere, because today your virtual online classes of the kids, working from home remote services are really triggering that need. Not only that, means today if you want to make your utility payments, you use the money to do of capability, right? Digital wallets and other things like Paytm or Phone Pay or Google Pay. These are the things which are the advancements of the money 2.0, where you are moving away from the physical money to the digital money, and and it is trying to help you to increase your entire lifestyle and change your lifestyle towards your healthcare, smart appliances, and really empowering you with the technologies like blockchain, robotics, and renewable energy, which is making your home to be much more smarter and much more meaningful. Now, as I say, the energy is also becoming a very important dimension. Now, energy, transportation, communication. These are the three industries. Whenever you're trying to talk about the uh, three important industries in the Industry Revolution 4.0, if you significantly see any changes in the energy, transportation, and communication, then you say there is an industrial revolution which is getting triggered. Okay, so huge amount of focus is given today on the uh, energy related things and driving the change. You see there is a huge amount of investments which are happening in renewable energy, storing the energy, and utilizing that energy for the next generations. We are also trying to see that a light frequency transmission, wireless transmission of the energies, and remote storage of the energies. So the form of the energies which is getting generated, like through the solar panels or through the wind panels or the water or the waste, they're all different ways of generating and storing the energy to make it much more consumable for the future. Communication is definitely one of the important area and advancement which are getting triggered today, and it is really making the uh, amplified factors and amplified scenarios for the future. Today, with the help of the change in communications behavior and the speed of the communications, you see there is a 4G, 5G advancements which are coming in, which is going to improve not only the speed uh, but also the security of the data which is getting transmitted. But also, you see there is a huge amount of speed under which it operates and try to deliver the things at a faster capabilities. So you see that conversational interfaces or the conversational systems are becoming a very important part of the system today. And not often we have seen in the past where we are able to instruct the machine and machine does listen to our instruction and perform the job. Not sure you might have seen today your gadgets when you're trying to type on the WhatsApp or any messages. Very few the today new generation people, you guys particularly, you hardly type. Sometimes you may use the speaker button to speak, and speech to text is utilized. The ability to converse with the devices becoming a very prominent. The brain computer interfaces, which are going to come today very shortly. You will be start saying that whatever you're trying to think, the computer knows it in advance by using your pulses or other means. So light frequency I already mentioned about you, but the augmented reality is becoming always the mainstream. In the retail industry, you see where your environmental characteristics are taken, and then you can use. Suppose we are going for a shop for purchasing the clothes, you can use the augmented reality window and choose the clothes which you want to wear. It uses your image, the clothes can be replaced. So you can see that how you look wearing that particular clothes even actually before wearing it. So such scenarios are coming in, and the gaming industry is already leveraged. You have seen Pokemon game is completely based on the augmented reality, where your current environment is taken into the account and mapped into that particular system. So, so bots, virtual reality, smart cars, smart homes are part of the entire communication industry levers. The important area where you see there is a huge amount of advancements which are happening, which you need to be aware is information. So as you're trying to develop your skill levels, you need to understand in the next 4 years when you're trying to graduate, you see this particular systems, what I'm trying to talk about, is going to take a huge amount of edge in the way we are trying to compute the capabilities and drive the change. Definitely for in the next 4 years, one particular area where you're going to see huge amount of usage is quantum computing. And today I'm trying to speak. In India, we have something called DT and MITI, Ministry of Electronics and Department of Electronics, which is going to work on, which always works on the futuristic technologies and drive the change in the government of India behaviors. We are working on the quantum key distribution across the satellite, QKD. We have something called Raman Research Institute in Bangalore. They're working using the photonics and using the quantum technologies, how you are going to distribute the key from from one satellite to the another satellite, and ensure that your entire data is digitally protected. And whatever today you see the security algorithms, like you might be encountering SHA-128 or SHA-256, which is making that entire cryptocurrency, sorry, crypto security algorithms, the cryptographic algorithms, all those things are possibly will be broken in the future with the quantum computing capabilities. So you see huge amount of information advancements which are happening. Quantum is a word to watch for. And today, IBM, Microsoft, Google, Intel, they have released quantum software development kits. And there is a simulation software available which will allow you to program these things and also learn that. So people who wanted to work on the higher computing capabilities, you have to watch out for the quantum computing for sure. People who wanted to work on the artificial intelligence, AI areas, focus on machine learning and deep learning or data science, you need to focus on the cognitive systems and human machine merger or conversational systems likewise. People who are focusing on the IoT, sensor based technologies, they can look into the smart city, smart home, and connected car kind of a scenarios as well. As I speak, you need to see that the work culture or work environments are getting completely transformed. People used to go into the office in the earliest, probably in the 50s, 60s, 70s. People used to work from office 9 to 5 or 9 to 6 and come back and spend time. But as the internet's advanced, we used to work, but the time what we're trying to spend in the at the employment and in the work area used to be hugely running into 10 hours, 12 hours, or 14 hours per day. Today, the kind of a situation what we are trying to live in, you see there's a virtual collaboration suits which are becoming very, very prominent. The entire future workplace is getting transformed. People are working remotely, collaborating remotely, utilizing the remote capabilities to network and see with each other and meet with each other. So using these capabilities, you are transforming the entire culture of the work, and you're also transforming the way we are trying to deliver the things. If there is anything which is monotonous in nature, you are aiming to automate it. So automation of everything is what the goal is, but whether it is ideally possible or not, it's only the time will tell. But the focus is there to transform and generate the new age institution 2.0, which will be really driving the change as we move forward. Similarly, you can see there is a huge amount of maker economy which is popularizing the clothing industry. Uh, in the maker economy, what does it offer is even the consumer becomes a maker, and there are certain game changers in the clothing industry, which is inviting the designs from the consumers, and they're picking the top three trends, and they get a royalty for the if your design gets picked up. So there are many such kind of a game changers available in the today's economy, which is going to uh, which is driving the change in the entire marketplace. Okay, and you see, as I speak, the clothing industry, it's all about how you manage your entire logistics and change. The finally, what I want to touch upon is the education segment, which is also a very important area. You see today, virtual online courses, massively open online courses, virtual teaching methods, online education, which used to be a ideally not possible in the past, but now it is becoming a very, very current and staying relevant in the context of the remote learning. We used to have a lot of focus on the game-based educations using the quizzes, games, where people used to adapt to the situations and learn and solve those problems. They're all becoming integral part. That is where you see the courses, the companies like the online education companies like Byju's, Vedantu, many more are getting higher attention across the student communities, across the parent communities, to enable the students utilizing these particular platforms. These are the areas where you see huge amount of transformation which is getting triggered across these industries, and your value is completely emerged. And wherever there is a value, you see there is a higher focus, higher payments happening. So when you say there is a value is getting emerged, you need to be aware of the fact that there is a lot of complex adaptive systems which are coming together. They are going to drive the change. They have to be built with a lot of compassion in mind, so that they will have the ability to predict the impossible and solve those things proactively. Now, I just want to touch upon, as the future value is increasing, I want to touch upon one of the industries of the telecom. So what happened before the internet really boomed, before the applications leveraging the internet really boomed, applications which really triggered the voice to text and text to voice ability to interact. So in 20 years ago, when I was in US, I used to spend around $200 calling back home every month. So we used to get 53 cents per minute to be charged by the telecom companies like AT&T, Charter. But now, if you're trying to say that when you're at US, if you want to call back home, you get 0 rupees charged. You just need to have internet to speak over the WhatsApp or any other channel like Facebook or anything. And there are many applications which has emerged, which is trying to change. So future values, which is increasingly accruing to the customers, you should see telecom firms, because of this advancement, they have lost $37 billion. But where is this $37 billion came in? This $37 billion resulted in the gain of $37 billion of savings to the consumers, and $2 billion of gain to the industries, which is tapping into the internet boom, like Skype or WhatsApp or Facebook or Instagram or any other things which is making the voice over IP to work, to make the people connected. So you see that so the advancements of leveraging the data, advancements of leveraging the IoT, advancement of leveraging the internet and VoIP related channels, you are generating the new business and saving a lot of money for the consumers. So with a zero marginal cost. Now, as I promised, I'm trying to touch upon the Institution 2.0, which is very important for all of you. How is this 9 different professions are getting transformed? Health, education, law, and how the technologies are changing the behaviors of that. And in the next 20 years, you see these behaviors transforming to a great level than what happened in the last 300 years. So if you typically look at these industries, I'm just trying to zoom in for your benefit. So if you try to look into the education behavior, because of the volume of participation of the students which are coming in, now the entire data of correction, or your papers are getting corrected, the rankings are getting defined by the entire AI based systems. You have the optical character recognition machines, optical mark recognition machines, AI based systems which are getting developed, which is automatically analyzing your marks and trying to grade. Likewise, you can see there is a huge amount of community practice of teachers which are coming in to provide a lot of online capabilities of learning through the MOOCs channel. And your learning is completely personalized, customized through the virtual environments with the learn it by doing and application based support. So your entire education is becoming virtual and make it possible through those channels. If you typically look into the healthcare channel, again the same, the AI based analytics are used for the diagnosis. Today, if you say, but as I'm speaking now, it means a couple of months ago, there was a huge hackathon which has been done across by the Government of India, CDAC, NVIDIA together. My team participated in analyzing the footprint of CT scan images and the blood reports of the COVID patients, which are publicly available with the anonymous patient names. And we were able to spot and identify the regions to quickly spot whether the patient is COVID positive or negative as soon as the test is done. Today, if you get the result of HRCT, RT-PCR, it normally takes 24 to 48 hours to get that result. With the programs which we embedded with the CT scan machines and blood repository results, we will be able to completely give a meaningful diagnosed output within a span of 5 minutes. So that's the power of AI based analytics, leveraging the power it will able to provide that machine. In fact, we are working with some of the companies like Siemens and others to integrate this code base with the to interpret the results faster and quicker. And you see today robotics playing an important role in the surgery. A lot of knee replacements are happening to this robotic surgeries and other things. So there is a huge amount of practice of communities of practice which are giving the applications like 1mg farm easy, whatever you see, there is a lot of drug references which are available. And you have the Arogya Setu app, which is trying to do it for yourself and come out with the symptoms, whether you are COVID positive, COVID negative, or you are safe or unsafe. All these things are possibly done through that. Similarly, if you see these extensions are going towards the law, tax and audit, architecture, divinity, management consulting, journalism. You likewise you take any number of professional segments, you see a huge amount of systems playing an important role in driving the automation and change. So all these are possible because of the kind of a focus and development of different distribution of practice which are getting emerged. The practical expertise which are getting emerged are through the communities of experience, paraprofessionals, the amount of knowledge which is embedded into the system. You are able to interpret and mine that particular knowledge and generate the machine expertise. So these are driven by some of the specific tasks getting discomposed, automated, completely multi-source from the multiple pieces of the data and drive the change. So the entire transform the professions which you are trying to live in today for the next 4 years or 5 years, probably the time you try to graduate and come into the career, might get transformed to a great level. In fact, today when I speak, some of the tax services are already getting transformed, like Big Four, what we call Deloitte, Ernst& Young, KPMG, PwC. They have already started leveraging AI-based systems for reviewing the audit reports. They are trying to leverage many of the tax filing systems automatically done and personalized done. You're not even worried about having a consultant to do it. It will pull all your salary receipts, your investment data, and everything. It can file it on click of a button. So you need not furnish all these things. You just need to get authenticated with the different systems so that it has got the full knowledge of what you're trying to file. So such applications are getting developed and are already in place. And by the time in next 4 years, you see the maturity of these applications going to a next level. Now, lastly, I want to touch upon this important areas which are very, very critical for you as a student. As an engineering student, you need to have one important skill: how you communicate the agile way. See, right from the day one of your engineering, if you start developing the culture of agile, where you incrementally learn the things, the culture is all about doing the things incrementally, not everything at one go. So that ability to articulate and doing it in agile way will make a big difference. The second important skill I say that as an engineering student you need to develop is art of articulation. See, where your ability to do a storytelling is very, very critical and important. Will you be able to communicate a story uh, easily? Will you be able to talk about certain things in a story manner? So articulate with a reason, articulate with the right way of communicating the things. So understanding the pulse of your audience and how you try to articulate to them is becoming an important skill as a individual if you want to really make up your career. The third thing from the soft skill standpoint is communicate effectively in global teams. How well you communicate in the global teams. When you're trying to say you are trying to work, um, you will be working not only within your friend circle, but the people who are working from abroad, people who are working from the different culture, different geographies. How you communicate to them is also becoming an essential part. And if you look into the US lifestyle now, so US people expect you to speak details first, summarize later. European people expect you to summarize first, details later. Understanding the culture is very important when you're trying to communicate. And expressing the same thing with confidence is also very important. And that is possible only you carry that conviction. And as I mentioned, contextual learning, contextualize it with communication, and articulating those things also plays a very important role. And inclusive interaction in global teams. Basically, diversity is becoming a very important thing, and you need to work on teams with a lot of diversity. So your ability to live and with the diversity makes a tremendous change and impact. Apart from that, you I'm just trying to refer some of the TCS here, but you do not worry about that. But you need to focus on the industry 2020. What is the focus? And probably in the industry 2025, what will be the focus? You see, in 2025, 5 years from now, many of these industries are going to work from home only. Probably you have a very less opportunity to go to office and work. That's how the transformations are getting triggered. And if that is the case, then how do you manage your knowledge? How do you drive your innovation? How do you work in the labs to make the things done? And how you work with the different machines, the scale of the machines, your professional networking behavior, how does it change? How are you going to connect with the people in the different conferences? And how do you influence the people remotely when you're not facing them? And how do you solve the complex problems remotely? So the remote connections comes in where your personal capabilities are getting tested and looked at. And as I say, you need to see that there are multiple technology tracks plays a very important role as you try to move upon. The first track, probably many of you might be liking, is about building a modern web applications. Modernization is one, becoming modern engineering. Modernization is one of the important area of knowledge. And if you are from the computer science graduates, probably you might be interested to develop the skills in Angular JS, React JS frameworks, or you might be interested to look into the Node.js technologies, Knockout.js. There are multiple, nearly umpteen number of JavaScript frameworks available to do the things, while Angular and React becoming much more popular in the building the modern web applications. How you build them, work with a modern data repository. If some people are very good in the data, you know how to represent the structured data, unstructured data, semi-structured data, deal with the data, analyze the data, predict the data, prescribe the medicines, means prescribe the actions from the data insights. Then you need to have a knowledge of working with modern data repositories. These modern data repositories like PostgreSQL, NoSQL databases like Cassandra and other things. Amazon has got a DynamoDB, uh, and there is a huge amount of Azure Data Factory which is there. Google has their big big table. So IBM has got a lot of intelligent systems like Watson. So your ability to work with that multiple modern data repositories becomes a very interesting insights. People who wanted to focus on data science career or analytics as a career, big data as a career, that the track two will be a very important area for you to invest upon. This third area is about the machine first or intelligent business processes. This is where the cognitive systems, artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, all things comes in. Your ability to program using API.ai, TensorFlow, Google Dialogflow, Keras, Python, all these things plays a very important role if you want to build inquisitive capabilities to develop AI-based systems, more intelligent systems, build the converse the human brain, machine and human interfaces, HMI, what we call human machine interfaces. And people who focus say that I may not be good in data, but may not be good in AI, but I'm very good in connecting the ecosystems. Means different heterogeneous systems which are participating together, you want to integrate. So the integration has got a huge amount of capabilities today, and people are also building their careers in the integration specialists or integration architects, or developers with integration. Basically, you normally you integrate the data using the message based integration, data based integrations, API based integrations. The apification is becoming one of the important norm in the industry for building the applications. There are multiple applications live in the enterprise, and the only way you integrate all this application is through the integration backbone. Today you have MuleSoft as a technology, CA layer 7 as a technology. Likewise, there are multiple technologies which are available, which is allowing you to build that apification strategy around. And in fact, people say that when you're trying to develop your solutions using concepts like microservices architecture pattern, every system what you try to develop, you expose the API so people can You consumer API and extend and build the services. Another track where there's a huge amount of focus is getting developed is about extreme automation, leveraging the best of the cloud. So the automations has got a different levels: infrastructure automation, business process automation, and, and technology automation. So if you typically talk about the business process automation, you have solutions or tools like Blue Prism, Automation Anywhere. One of the outsourcing tool is about the UI path. So which will provide you the ability, any monotonous repeated steps what you have, you can program it using this particular tools, and it will be repeated so that you will be able to do the job faster. Let us say, for an instance, you're getting a question papers. Someone need to read the question papers, interpret the insights, and correct it and read the things. Either you do it manually, or you want to have the OCR or OMR machines to do it, or you have the text mining scripts or crawlers which will crawl these things and interpret the insights and rate it. So that level of automation is possible using this cloud automation tools and other things. The another important area, I'm not bringing in some of the non-important areas here. There are nearly 14 tracks. I'm just trying to highlight 8 tracks for your reference. Another track is about the cyber security. So there is about today, if you're trying to look at ethical security, is becoming a very important layer of investment. Securing how you secure a backbone of your enterprise, your application is becoming important. And security is everyone's responsibility, people call it. And today, people who wanted to really make a career in the cybersecurity space has a huge paychecks available in the market, because there is a dearth. People need to understand how you identify the threats, identify the countermeasures, and fix those things in advance. How do you manage your preventive security, and how do you manage the forensic analysis of your security? All these things are part of the cybersecurity world, what you need to really look at. Huge amount of tools are available. And today, when you're trying to talk about, I don't know how many of you might be knowing, might be very early for me to communicate about DevOps, which they are trying to talk about continuous integration to the continuous delivery, where when you develop an application, how do you build that application automatically, does that application automatically, validate, deploy that application for the consumption, and once it is deployed, how do you capture the feedback and provide it to the design and development team to improve it further. And during this entire journey from the CI/CD, what we call continuous integration to the continuous delivery, you weave in the security and privacy integrity. That's where we call PrivSec DevOps. How do you ensure the privacy part? How do you ensure the security parts are taken care automatically end to end? And today, if you try to look into the Google, Microsoft, and Microsoft Azure or Amazon or IBM Bluemix, all these people are able to leverage and spin out your machines faster because of the container technologies. Remember, containers is also an important element of information. That's where the software defined infrastructure coming into the existence. The software defined infrastructure says that how fast I can spin out the machines, how fast I can spin out the applications are running on the machines, how fast I'll be able to deliver the services to the customers. So software defined infrastructure leverages some of the capabilities of Terraform, uh, and Terraform coding, and it also you leverages Pulumi. Likewise, there are many frameworks available today which will allow you to define the entire infrastructure in the form of a software. And when you execute the software, your entire infrastructure is automatically proficient. This is today called as infrastructure as a code. It has got a huge amount of prominence in the development. So nothing people want to develop or do it manually. Everything they want to automate as much as possible. The final track where I see there is a huge amount of prominence as a career for you is all about is architecting the transformation solutions. And many people ask me, can a junior person or a rookie, the people who are joining the career, can they be an architect? Why not? They all can be an architect, because the ability to provide the innovative, creative, and transformation solutions all can come from anyone. And your ability to think differently and your ability to provide that meaningful insights become very evident part of your journey. The more you know about the technology breadth and depth, you'll be able to drive the change. So as I speak about, your ability to understand the agile way of executing the things, understand the terminology of sprint, cycle, product backlog, and understand the safe agile practices, which is allowing you to work in the distributed teams and work scrum teams, and start living in the world of agile to deliver incrementally and realize it incrementally. These are some of the characteristics when you're trying to provide link your programs of learning. You'll really make a huge amount of investment towards your career as you move forward, and that gives you a kind of a huge means a different launching pad when you come out of the college. So launching pad is very very important. And as an engineering student, I would say and encourage right from the day one, if you can construct these particular areas of thoughts, if you can start associating yourself with this kind of a technical track themes and process track themes, you'll be able to remarkably drive the change in your career as you move forward. Every subject what you learn in engineering has a relation, has a meaning, has a foundation to the career what you're going to aspire for. So finally, I would say that discover the future in you, which is going to make a bigger difference as you move forward. I stop here and I will invite all the questions. And if you have any specific questions, I'll be glad to answer those things for you.
Yes, guys, if you have any questions, you can post in the chat box. So select everybody. Nikhil, if you have any question, you can post in the chat box.
Someone can read me the questions. That would be great.
So let me check, sir. Sir, if we pass out in 2024, then what will be the placement probability?
High, very high, because the amount of technology opening the doors is huge. People said in 99 2000, right, when computers came into the advancement with the internet, they said that internet is going to take away the jobs of many people. Yes, it has taken away the jobs of many people who are not able to adapt to the computers, but it has opened up multitude of jobs. You can see the amount of jobs it has opened up for the people with the computer literature. So your ability to adapt to the new technologies make much more powerful. So in 2024, when you're graduating, some of the core areas which I mentioned, AI, analytics, blockchain, robotics, IoT, so if this core and quantum areas, if you are part of this particular core areas, you're going to get huge amount of jobs. There is no dearth of jobs, to be very honest.
Sir, one more question. Uh, Cyber security is having more value than data science. Is it true?
No, you cannot compare. It's like comparing apples with oranges. See, data science and cybersecurity are the two different worlds. Uh, so when you're trying to talk about the cybersecurity, you are trying to talk about the external and internal systems in protecting the security. So when you speak on cyberspace, uh, you say that any infringements happening in my world, I want to protect those things. If there is an already infringement happened, I want to do the forensic analysis. So when I say infringement, infringements could be of different nature. So I have an intellectual idea, someone is trying to steal my idea. So cybersecurity or forensic people will try to navigate through that particular legal clauses and also navigate through that particular infringements and try to get those information, and they try to sue those people. So in order for you to do that, you need to have the ability to analyze the data, and this analyzing of the data is only comes to the people who have a good amount of domain understanding, good amount of pattern understanding, good amount of semantic understanding, and that is possible only with the data science people. So if cybersecurity has got ability to do the uh, identifying the zero-day attacks, automating the traffic analysis, driving a lot of container security, doing a lot of forensic analysis, preventive measures, uh, all this. You can also talk about the threat hunting problems. All these things are related with the data, and this data analysis, everything is supported the data science. So if your cybersecurity is a external wing to provide you that support, data science is an internal enabler to achieve that support. So they are, you cannot compare, but they are related to achieve, and they complement with each other.
What is DevOps?
So when you try to develop the code, what happens? When you develop the code, you need to have a repositories to store, right? And today, the repository for storing the code is called as source control systems. Then this source control system, one of the popular source control system is GitHub. Likewise, you have Team Foundation Server, Source Depot. Likewise, many such kind of source control systems are there. So if when you're working in a team, there are multiple people who are working and contributing to the code. And what happens, everyone who trying to contribute to the code, they need to check into that particular source system. So you want to change anything, you check out. Whenever you commit that particular change, you check in. So when the code is getting checked into the system, what happens is you need to continuously build to test whether your code is not broken. So your ability to integrate and build that code for ability to run is important. So that is where it's got a continuous integration, what we call CI. In the DevOps, that is the first step. When you check in the code, you integrate the code and build the code to test. There is no build breaks are happening, no errors are resulted. Now, once the build is successful, what you want to do is you want to test your code. Means automatically you want to test certain test cases and see that every test case is passing. So you try to test your code by running the test cases automatically to see that everything is functioning. Once that is done, what you try to do is you want to deploy this particular code in some environment. It could be a test environment, and it could be a user acceptance test environment, or it could be a production environment. So that is the way you try to deploy the tested code is called as a continuous deployment or continuous delivery. With approval, it's a continuous deployment. Without approval, it's a continuous delivery. And this approval is provided by the administrators or the owners of that particular code. Now, once you deploy the code, this is CD part. And what happens is you need to monitor it. And you have tools like Dynatrace, you have tools like Tivoli and many other things which will continuously monitor the running your applications. That is a continuous monitoring. When we are monitoring, what happens, people can have a lot of errors, a lot of issues, or it could be performance issues, response time is low, all these things can come. So you need to obtain this particular feedback and give it back to the design team or development team. That is a continuous feedback. Continuous integration, continuous testing, continuous deployment, continuous monitoring, continuous feedback. These are the 5 important elements are part of the DevOps. Now when you're trying to deploy the code, you can deploy the codes in bits and pieces, or you can deploy the codes in the form of containers. That's where the Docker technologies are coming in. So when you package everything in a Docker or package everything using the Kubernetes clusters, what happens is you are ensuring that your entire container can go as it is. So when the container moves from one environment to another environment, your opportunity to lose any particular file is very less, and your opportunity to ensure that the file behaviors are correct is 100%. So today, that is the reason in the continuous deployment you see many people advocate about container security prominently. So DevOps is a composition of these 5 areas: continuous integration, continuous validation, continuous deployment, continuous monitoring, continuous feedback. When you have the understanding about these 5 areas and associated tools, you can be considered as a DevOps specialist. In fact, today many full stack developers are requested to be part of the that particular chain of thought.
Okay, sir. Next question. Sir, can we
Yeah.
guess that AML can occupy the most of the jobs in future?
I don't say it will occupy most of the jobs, it will open up most of the jobs. So basically, when you are making the people to be more intelligent, there are many Some of the monotonous job areas are getting closed, but the new job opportunities are getting opened. The work volumes are increasing, the opportunity volumes are increasing, the scenarios or transformation scenarios are increasing. So jobs won't get decreased, jobs would be increased, but more intelligent jobs would be increased. That's how I interpret the data.
So how to get good placements in BTech means how should we prepare?
See, basically, fundamentally, I would say that you should. There are four things I want every individual to do in the engineering. Point number one: understand the context and concept behind every subject what you're trying to learn. Every subject is important because there is a meaning. If you want to be a good data scientist, probability and statistics is the subject you need to be having a complete knowledge. If you want to be a good web developer, you need to have the logical reasoning on quant capabilities. And the if you really want to be a good web developer, you need to also carry the creative skills, user experience skills for developing the good UI. So every subject you learn, you have a huge amount of importance. Like mathematics, a calculus subject also has got a huge amount of information, subjective importance in the problems what you try to solve in the manufacturing segment or in the banking segment. So every subject has got certain relevance. So context and conceptual understanding is critical. Second thing is programming capabilities is important. That is where I say that in your 4 years, at least participate in 8 to 10 hackathons, not to win, but to participate and get a behavioral understanding and test your capabilities as a programmer. So, hackathon participating helps you to develop the healthy competitive culture. That is a second important area where you need to invest. The third area where I say that where you need to really develop the skill is about writing skills, communication skills, your ability to program your ability to uh, write the programs and also publish that particular work in the conferences plays a very important role. Writing technical papers, writing the white papers with the help of your professors or with the guidance of your leaders or mentors, and ensuring that those things gets a right visibility by participating in the conferences makes you a gets you a greater mileage. So all the programs, the fourth important area is whatever you code, maintain in one single repository and ensure that that is also available during your interviews to demonstrate the last 4 years of your repository work to showcase to the interviewer what programs you have written and how you have written it. So maintain a Git account and drive. So knowledge repository is critical. That is the final one. And today, many industries are opening up their internal community and social channels for you. TCS itself has got a campus commune. You can go to the TCS campus commune channel. You can Google around campus commune. You can go and register for yourself for free. And in campus commune, the more you engage, there is a higher probability people notice you, and they may take you into the organization even with less number of interviews or maybe writing written test. TCS also has got a national quality test, and we also do a lot of code vita tests there where we directly recruit the top developers into the company. So apart from the academics, if you have a good programming skills, you definitely have an opportunity to join any good organization. So develop these four areas:
Okay.
context and conceptual understanding. Second is about publications and conferences, participating in hackathons, maintaining your knowledge repository. If you diligently do this, you'll be a good developer to drive. But there are people who go much beyond this. The people I've seen who start developing the entrepreneurship skills. They wanted to develop their own product. They wanted to start their own company. That is also good. You have the T Hub, V Hub, the TIE, some of these particular things which will play an important role in developing the entrepreneurship skills. If you really wanted to network and understand the industry better and wanted to go for MS or some other things, joining IEEE or Computer Society of India or ACM, Associate of Computing Machinery, some of the industry bodies also give you a very good opportunity for you to network with the industry leaders and the professionals.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Uh, so
Yes.
session has been done, and remaining are all similar questions only, like BTech or AML in the future. So remaining questions are similar. Hope I think you have answered all the relevant questions. So
Thank you.
thank you for joining with us, sir. So thank you for
Thank
initially
you.
accepting our invitation and sparing your time for our first year students who have recently took admission in CMR Technical Campus in CSC, Data Science, Artificial Intelligence, Machine Learning, and Information Technology. These all four branches of students are listening your session right now, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All the best for all of you guys.
Yeah, definitely we feel that your insights will definitely help them in their futures.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you, and all the best. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, guys. So that's the end of the session for today. I
Thank you.
request you to, yeah, yes, sir. I request you to attend all the remaining sessions also with the same enthusiasm, same interest, so that it will be helpful for you. So this is the special induction program conducted only for the first year students for all the branches. So please utilize this opportunity as much as possible. So, okay, right. Thank you.